So today we're going to talk about command flags. Many Linux commands have options that change them very slightly, and we call these options flags. I'm going to demonstrate the concept with the ls command, since you're already familiar with it and know what it does, but almost every command in Linux has some sort of flags or some sort of options that you can use to change it. So we know the ls command lists all the files in the current directory. But again, there are these options called flags that can change the output slightly or affect the command in some way. In general, the format for using flags and for specifying flags in Linux is we start out with just the command name, cd, ls, pwd, all those different commands we've learned. And then there is a hyphen, and then we give it the flags that we're going to use. You can give it one or many. And then any arguments if the command in fact takes the arguments. Flags are very easy to recognize because they're preceded by a hyphen. In fact, usually rather than specifying a hyphen, usually we call this a dash. So that's the terminology that you'll hear, is that I'll say dash something for a command flag. So let's take a look at how this actually works in the Linux environment. So here what I've gone ahead and done is I'm in a particular directory that has lots of files, and as you can see here I've typed ls-l. Now the default way here is that it lists all of my files in alphabetical order, but you'll notice in fact that there are lots of other pieces of information here, and I'll run through what these pieces of information are in a minute. But this is the -l flag, and it causes the command to list the long form of the output, all the details. So L in this case stands for long. So note all of this extra information. There's lots and lots of pieces to this here. So let me go ahead and just show you guys sort of the different pieces here that we can talk about. So here I've got my command, ls-l, and then it gives me all these pieces. These pieces over here that have this -rw sort of stuff, these are the permissions. So it shows me who has the permission to make changes to my files. These two columns right here show the owner of the files. Usually one of these columns will be your user ID because you usually create your files, and the other one is what group you're in. The column of very small numbers right here is the size of the files. These are very small files because they're just text files. We have the date the files were created on. We have the time as well in that, so we have the date and the time, and then last but not least we have the file name. Now remember, the standard ls command only gave us the file names, and obviously this one gives us lots more information. Another popular flag that we can use with the ls command is the -t option. In this case, T stands for time, and this will cause ls to list the files sorted in chronological order based on when they were created. The most recent file is going to come first in the list. So here we'll specify the -t flag, ls-t, and as you can see, it puts the file that was created first in the list. In this case, hello.java was created first, and then continuing on through the list. We can use the flags together in conjunction, so we can sort of layer flags with each other. So in this case we can do ls-lt if we want to see the long form of the data and see it sorted in chronological order. So when I execute that command, you can see how it has sorted the files for me with the most recently modified file from September 4th first. You could technically specify these as ls-l and then -t, do it as two separate flags, but that's a little bit redundant. You'll still get the same output, but you very rarely see this done. Usually there's a dash and then all of the flags come after that at once. So again, I demonstrated this concept with the ls command, but realize that, again, virtually every command in Java, or excuse me, in Linux, has flags that can change the behavior slightly, and we'll see some options with other commands later on.